Welcome to another edition of WestEdge Wednesdays. These programs are so fun for me to share with you because WestEdge this year was amazing. It was from the opening night party where it was pouring rain and it didn't seem to stop anybody from coming out and enjoying the experience. It was just amazing. I remember waiting for pizza. Amazing pizza, by the way, in the pouring rain. So much fun. I will remember this one for a long time. Speaking of remembering things, this program is really a great one. Kitchen Revolution, or Evolution, crafted, curated spaces created for an evolving client. Kitchens and bathrooms are now personalized lifestyle spaces, blending beauty with comfort and smart technology. These spaces are becoming both functional and stunning simultaneously. This panel explores innovations in materials, appliances, and design that refine and redefine these rooms. Discover how design, technology, and practicality all come together to meet the needs of today's discerning clients. This program is very special to me too because I work with Pacific Sales Kitchen and Home, a Best Buy company and incredible friend to the design and architecture community. And so having this moderated by Pacific Sales Kitchen and Home's own Virzine Hovasapyan was very special. And it featured Pamela Barthold of Pazam Designs, Lori Hafela of Hafela Design, Holly Hollenbeck of HSH Interiors, and Karen Rideau of Kitchen Design Group. Just an amazing experience. And I think you're really going to love this program, which was also sponsored and presented by Pacific Sales. And you can hear all of that right after this. This was the second year that Pacific Sales Kitchen and Home, a Best Buy company, sponsored and presented the theater at the WestEdge Design Fair. So appreciative to them. In addition to everything that they do for sponsorship, they also brought in partner Best Buy, partner Geek Squad, Hisense, and made possible a video wall to Kim Gordon's design that just, it made it pop. And I think that it's so important to understand that the most important word in design today is service. You know, product is important, price is important, selection is important, but service, stellar service, makes all the difference in the world. And if you're a designer, if you're in the trade, Pacific Sales Kitchen and Home has a simply remarkable trade program. Their Pro Rewards program, which is a trade-up program unlike any you've ever experienced before. You have a chance to earn 3% in Best Buy e-gift cards or 2.5% in a reward check for every qualified and delivered sale, in addition to trade pricing, exclusive offers, access to exclusive special events, so much more. I can't even tell you everything here. So make sure to check them out. Thank you, Pacific Sales Kitchen and Home, for your sponsorship and partnership at the WestEdge Design Fair this year and for presenting WestEdge Wednesdays, which you're about to hear right now.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Kitchen Revolution, crafted, curated spaces for our clients that are evolving. I'm Virzine Hovasapyan, Director of Marketplace of Innovation for Pacific Sales, the West Coast leader of kitchen, bath, outdoor, and total home. I'm excited to be here to moderate this panel today with the conversations. Thank you all for joining me. Kitchen and bathrooms have evolved for purely functional spaces into deeply personal lifestyle environments. Today, we'll discuss and explore how beauty, comfort, and smart technologies are converging to meet the needs of more dissenting, wellness-focused, and tech-savvy clientele. It's like they come in telling us what to do, right, nowadays? I'm joined by the incredible panel of design leaders today. a lot of you have been shaping this evolution already, every day. So thank you again for joining me. I would like to kick off by starting with introductions. Karen, if we could please start with you. If you could introduce yourself and just share a little bit about your work.
My name is Karen Rideau. My company is Kitchen Design Group. I've been in business a little over 3 decades, and when I started, I specialized in kitchens and bathrooms pretty much exclusively. And now, after this many years, we've bled out into the whole house of interior architecture, but still with the specialization in kitchens and bathrooms.
Thank you. Holly?
Hi, I'm Holly Hollenbeck, and my firm is HSH Interiors. We are located in San Francisco and Lake Tahoe, and our projects span Los Angeles, all around the Bay Area, wine country, all around Lake Tahoe and Wyoming. We also work overseas. So we are a full-service interior design firm. We do interior architecture and furnishings. I would say probably 90% of our projects involve remodeling and furnishing, and we also work on ground-up projects, so we do a lot of kitchen and bath.
Welcome.
I'm Lori Hafel with Hafel Design. I'm here in Santa Monica and New York. I'm bi-coastal. My firm specializes in high-end luxury kitchen, bath, closet, any room with cabinetry, basically. But I have to explain to a lot of people that I'm a hard surface designer. I'm not an interior designer. I don't do any soft surfaces. So cabinets, countertops, flooring, lighting, backsplashes, that type of.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Pam Barthold. My company is Pazam Designs, and I'm based in Huntington Beach, but I'm a national interior designer, and I specialize in remodels, luxury high-end remodels, but I'm national. So I also am in Sarasota, New York, Georgia, and Oregon. At this time of year, it's my favorite time of year, I do a lot of holiday decor as well.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, ladies, for joining us today. Let's start with the big picture question. How do your clients view kitchens differently now than the prior pandemic? What shifts have you seen in priorities, habits, and expectations?
I can start.
Go ahead.
For sure, I've noticed that people are not necessarily going out as much. They're enjoying their families in their kitchens and their homes more. You know, during the pandemic, a lot of people remodeled. So, and because, you weren't really allowed to go to restaurants, there was a lot of buffet-style eating, family-style eating. I've noticed in design that's been a big shift in my business.
With the trend many years ago when we started opening up our walls and opening up kitchens and into our living spaces, we're now making our kitchens more of a dining room, living room feel to it. So there's a lot of things that are hidden, things that when you look at the kitchen, it disappears at night, with sinks that turn into serving things and spaces, bringing in Italian cabinets, and that are more furniture-esque. So the kitchens are really evolving to more of a living space.
Yeah, I would second that. I feel like it's a trajectory that's been going on for quite some time, but away from sort of segmented living with sort of a closed-off kitchen and a formal dining and a formal living into much more open-plan living, which does drive the clients to really want to have a beautiful kitchen because it is the room most people spend most of their life in. So hiding things, making it more gorgeous, creating seating spaces that are cozy, that are incorporated into the kitchen is something that we are continuing to see.
Right. As we called it before, right? The heart of the home, like it's coming back. From your perspectives, how can showrooms and manufacturers be more responsive to designers' needs? What's the biggest pain point right now, aside from tariffs? Anything you would give pointers for dealers or any showrooms or manufacturers to help? Ms. Karen?
I would say, I have a showroom, so we are cabinet dealers, but I think today we're living in this world of collaboration with other designers, with other manufacturing teams. So I really feel And everything is so specialized. So I feel it's super important for us to stay connected and collaborative with the appliance showrooms, with special plumbing, special appliances, finishes, that we can all just work together. And so I really like the collaboration from the professionals, and I feel like we can offer our clients the ultimate product.
Correct. It's like we're always learning, right? What each other does.
I think with technology going so fast, so furiously, showrooms and especially specific sales does this beautifully, really bringing in designers and showing us really what's going on and training us on all the nuances and all the special features. There's so many features now with steam ovens, convection ovens, there's microwaves that are air fryers. So there's so much complexities now in appliances. And Pacific Sales is one of the go-to showrooms that I love because they really take the time to go through it with us and show us all of these so we can explain it to our clients.
Thank you. I think that's a way of we call about bridging the gaps, trying to teach each other, because in our line of business, it's not something where we can learn something 30 years ago and hope for the best as we keep going, right? And another thing is, like, we all know wellness is not a trend anymore. Wellness has become a priority. How has your design philosophy evolved to reflect the shift towards wellness in kitchen and bath spaces?
Yeah, I could start on that one. So I agree, we're seeing a huge shift in that direction. We are seeing a lot of demand from our clients for bathrooms and spaces that feel very spa-like. So almost every home we do has a steam shower now. We get a lot of requests for infrared saunas being built into the home, cold plunge tubs. So whether it's a bathroom that's adjacent to a home gym or a primary bath, we are seeing lots of requests for those kind of spa-level amenities in the bathroom. In the kitchen, I would say the beverage center, which maybe kind of coincides with the wellness, but I find a lot of people have very specific beverages that they like to drink now, and lots of them, whether it's, kombucha or their coconut waters or whatever wellness drink they're into. And if you get a family of, 4 or 5 and everyone's got their drink, there's just a mass amount of drinks. So we're also seeing, I would say related in the kitchen, but this drive towards these beverage center areas where we can have extra refrigeration that is outside of your main refrigerator specifically for all these beverages that everyone is into these days.
A lot of people have caught on to, the concerns of microwaves, and they are really eliminating these from their homes. So now with the introduction of steam ovens, convection ovens, that's their new go-to choice. We're bringing in woks in their home. Individual modular units, which are griddles. So they're, electric more than gas. So a lot of things that, are sustainable versus what we had done in the past.
Yes, when I think about wellness, it's also like the well-being. Somebody that loves their morning tea, maybe having accessible hot water by their bedroom where they don't have to go downstairs to get that. And those are like the things we have to find out from our clients, right? A couple of those questionnaires we ask them. When clients talk about wellness, what do they really mean? Do they connect wellness in design to physical health, mental well-being, or something entirely different? What connects, or how do you discover that from your clients?
I think it's very specific too, and wellness is extending into the kitchen, into outdoor gardens, and how do I grow my vegetables, how do I grow my herbs, how do I bring them in, what keeps them the freshest for the longest. And I think by all these requests, it's also allowing the appliance companies to stay up with the new introduction of what they offer, and combined appliances and sous vides and things like that. So I have seen a huge shift, not only from the obvious of the primary bathrooms and the spas and the infrareds, but also into the kitchen.
I know sometimes we also talk about the customers as you discover, like, what is wellness meaning to them. It's like, how do you also guide them? Like, is it something, the open floor plan as we talked about, because it just feels better to be in a well-lighted, open space where I feel more comfortable, and it's now my workspace as well too. A lot of people have evolved that. What are some of the trends that you're seeing there towards wellness as people make the open concepts?
Yeah, I could say we're seeing, because I'm in the Bay Area, an enormous number of my clients are in tech, and a lot of them work from home, at least part-time. So I would say for them, there's wellness, and then there's also a big drive towards efficiency, is how I would term it. So they see their time, understandably, as being incredibly valuable. And it kind of loops into this idea of accessibility for, beverages and snacks and things like that. So, for example, we're working on a home on the peninsula for a tech founder, and he explained to us that the walk from his office to the kitchen was simply too far, and that the 3 minutes and 30 seconds it took to get there and get back was too much out of his day. So we're actually reconfiguring a portion outside of his office to build in a full snack bar for him. So he can come out, he can make a quick latte, he can grab a snack, have a little mini refrigerator. Basically, it's a full mini kitchen where he can keep all of his snacks and beverages, so he doesn't have to go more than 3 steps outside of his office door.
Yes, I see that trend also, like for outdoor spaces, right? Full evolving outdoor kitchens. When you're having guests over, by the time you make the food inside, bring it out to serve it, it's cold. You don't want to have that experience. You want to enjoy it. So having warming drawers per se, having heated areas where you could enjoy it while you're out there, not worrying about running inside when it gets dark. It's those discovery questions that help us connect.
To expand on what you were saying, absolutely, you're saying what's going on in that bathrooms are not what they were. They're not just a toilet, a sink, and a shower anymore, or a tub. We're actually taking tubs out, and we're putting in, as you indicated, refrigerators and things like a microwave, even though they don't want them, but microwave, and they want computer screens on their mirrors. They want everything high tech that they have downstairs up in their bathroom. So their bathroom has actually become their living room, their kitchen, and everything. And now we're doing an open floor plan with their bed almost in the bathroom because it's so concealed off with the showers that you're indicating, which are steam showers.
I design a lot of outdoor barbecue, outdoor kitchens and buffets. One project that I did, we basically had a soup tureen built in with induction countertop underneath every single chafing dish that was all built in as well, and then also a cold stone creamery type ice top for the salads, and everything is. And then the lid, you press the button, the lid comes up, and there's lights in it, and then the lid would come down. So it was like a monolithic cube, almost like a sculpture. But then when it went into use, it was highly functional. But that's another thing I think that happened with COVID, with entertaining, and especially in Southern California, there's a lot of outdoor entertaining, and I'm doing a lot of projects outdoor.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting as we continue talking about all the different points you guys bring up. It brings up multiple things in my mind. As we go back to the bathroom as well, we talked about the warming drawer. Being wellness, we talk about medicine or some of the high-end, even face creams or makeup, they require refrigeration. And if we don't talk about that or discover that from our clients and put it in their bathroom or even a refrigerator drawer, something simple where they have access to that stuff without ruining the hundreds of dollars they spend on their stuff, plus the experience where they gotta go to the kitchen to get all that stuff every time they need it. And we talk about cold plunges nowadays too, and it goes hand in hand with the steams as you were talking about, Ms. Holly. So there's so many things that if we know what's out there for our clients, we could ensure we get them into the right spaces. The next topic I want to talk about is tech. You touched on it a little bit, Ms. Pam. As we talk about technology advances in appliances and materials, how has it affected your work in looking at some of the appliances in kitchen?
Drastically. As I indicated earlier, kitchens have really changed very quickly. There's the new zip faucet, which is seltzer, boiling water, warm water, cold water, and regular faucet. And there's so many new technologies. Funny story, I had a client who was not tech savvy, but wanted all the tech. And I said, I don't know, this is a lot of tech. And they don't realize how much tech is really put into these. And so they had the whole suite. And I had my rep, which we do, all of us designers, we really care about you. And we had them literally study it for 3 different times up in their house. We finally had to take it out. It was too technical, for them. So we do have to be very careful when we are approaching too much technology, and we have to look at our clients and what they can bear. And so that's one of the things that I really am watching out for is my clients and what is best for them and their knowledge base.
I understand. Ms. Laura?
I know AI is just coming so fast at us, and it's so hard to keep up with it. But I have to tell you, as designers, it can be really challenging. People will bring us photographs that just you can't physically build. There's like boulders and islands, and well, okay, we'll bring a boulder in. How are we going to do that? It's AI generated, and they don't know. They just think this is a really cool picture, and it is really cool. But that's challenging. And I also have architects will come to me with a rendering of a kitchen, and they'll say, "This is what I want. Build this." And so you have to kind of work backwards. It's the opposite of what we've been doing, for our whole careers. Now we're having to shift the way we're working and thinking, and also educating our clients.
Yeah, and I was going to play off Pam's story of, funny enough, one of my clients is a senior programmer at Google. He's an engineer, right? So talk about extremely, extremely tech savvy. And when we went appliance shopping, he said to me, I want the simplest, easiest thing. I want buttons and I want dials. I do not want screens. I do not want an app on my iPhone. And I think it's like for some of my clients, that's their whole life, right? Is dealing with technology. And he's like, this stuff goes buggy. It goes obsolete. Things stop working. And so it's funny for me to, I would have expected a tech guy to be like, give me the most advanced, coolest, and he was like, no, I want buttons and dials, So I think there's a huge array because we get clients who want all that stuff and are totally into it. And then funny enough, sometimes I get the ones that are like, give me the simplest thing I can get.
Yeah, it's like discovering who's willing to do it or who's experienced it and doesn't want to deal with it. With so many smart options available, how do you help your clients select the right amount? As Ms. Pam said earlier, like what are the type of different solutions you're giving them? Are you taking them showrooms to have them experience some of the items or like read up and study on them? What are the different approaches you guys are using?
We take all of our clients to the appliance stores because I feel it's a very hands-on and there's so many things you can use. And I always tell my clients, the kitchen is only so large and we want to stay focused on not what your neighbor or your friends have, but what you will use, so you're not taking things out. But I can also appreciate a lot of the new appliance companies that do have the chips that link to the phone or back to the manufacturer, because inevitably it's always going to be the Thanksgiving morning when something's not working, and the chip will read back to the manufacturer and can pretty easily tell you, is it a major problem or is it a small problem? But I think it's just trying to educate our clients as much as possible and then just kind of narrowing in on what their needs are, because you can't give everything, you can't put everything in.
Right.
I was going to say, designers, we go to events almost every couple days, with showrooms and for appliances, for everything, furniture, and so we're constantly learning. And so we're literally understanding the nuances of each appliances or each different things that is introduced for a client. So we get to know our clients, and then we marry them as best we can to the client so that they understand. Now, obviously, clients come in with their understanding that they think they want, right? So then it's up to us to really swing the pendulum so that they, do not get an appliance that we have to take out because it's too tech savvy for them.
Yeah, I agree. I was going to say, I like taking the clients appliance shopping. I find often they come in with a thought in their head of like, well, I want XYZ brand because I saw a picture of it in a magazine, or I just happen to know the name, or my neighbor has it, whatever it is. So I really like to take them in, and obviously given the price range we're looking at is kind of look at everything that's in the running, because I like them to feel like we've done our homework, we're taking a look at everything that might work, and it is interesting how often clients walk in with thinking they're going to buy something, and then we end up with something entirely different once they get to see it, touch it, feel it, open it, look at the inside of the oven, how is the inside of the fridge configured. All of those things can sort of start to swing the client's opinions.
Yeah, a lot of the technology in a home rebuilt, even sometimes I think about, those are the things we have to find out too. Is it something you're trying to get that you know you're going to use today, or you're just wanting to prepare your home for the future? Maybe they're going to pass it down to their kids that might use that technology, because you have to have those discovery questions, because how much power you want to put in that house, how much Wi-Fi they need, to connect to all of those technology. Because sometimes, let's say that connected appliance, I might not use it fully what it's intended for, but I like the fact that it tells me my water filter's out, or I like the fact that it tells me someone left the door open, just the basics. And then everything else down the line, someone could study everything else is available and use it when it's their turn. I think those are the little things that we need to find out.
Just a really good thing for homeowners to understand is with all these smart appliances, we need to run to our circuit breakers, and we need to understand that how much room do you have? Can you expand it? Do you need a new circuit breaker? A circuit breaker, in the older homes, we really are limited, and so if you don't have enough space, then you won't be able to have all these high-tech appliances, because they are all connected. All the smart appliances, all the Sonos, everything is connected via computer, and it's all running into separate plugs. And so that means you need a separate circuit for each one of those. So if you all want this fancy, kitchen with all the electronics and things like that, I've run into it, and first thing I ask is, let me see your circuit breaker. Not fancy, but that's what we ask for.
Yeah, not to set it up for failure, selling them on something and they can't have it after all. And we understand designing a space that's both beautiful and functional is no small feat. And you guys have a tough job, so we totally understand. How do you turn big ideas into practical design? How do you take someone's dreams, high dreams, they want something to kind of hone it down and bring it down to reality where it's still something that they've been dreaming about?
Yeah, I could start. For me, kitchen and bath, it has to be practicality first. So it is a limited space. I have yet to do a kitchen that has unlimited space. I've done some big ones, but there are always a limit. So it's kind of that reality check of how much square footage do we have? What can we actually get in here? Oftentimes there are trade-offs, right? People will say, I want these huge fridges. Oh, and 2 dishwashers. Oh, and 2 sinks. Oh, and a beverage center. Oh, and a coffee center. And it's okay, we're in 450 square feet. That's not happening, So a little bit of reality check, space planning, honing that down first. And then, of course, taking the client's vision for what they want it to look like, how do they want it to feel. We pretty swiftly move things into 3D renderings for clients. I find it's really the best way to get a client across the line on the decisions. And once it's in 3D, it's super easy for us to swap countertop materials. Okay, we go stone shopping and you fell in love with a slab that we were not expecting. Great, let's go ahead and put it into 3D. So it enables us to kind of get that final buy-in, usually from the clients, when they are really able to visualize it in 3D form.
I think that when you're designing something really outside the box, you have to work with really creative people and vendors and people that are open-minded and willing to go the extra mile, and even jerry-rig hardware together, just to make something to work. For example, press the button and have a lift-up appliance garage, and then have a shelf roll out onto the counter because it's extra deep and they don't want to reach. Just even things like that. You just have to have the manufacturers and designers surround yourself with your staff or designers, people that are super creative and super think outside the box and basically smarter than you.
Partners.
I also think when clients first come, big ideas, it's almost a feeling. It's almost theater, and it's for a designer to interpret and break down. And how do we get that feeling? How do we give them everything they think they have into their space? And a lot of it is editing. It's editing to square footage. It's editing all their great ideas and just bringing them down. But ultimately, I feel like when people come in with their Pinterest and their all of these, it's really a feeling that they're gravitating to that image, and so it's for us to, make that happen at whatever level.
And a lot of times it's the budget. You show them the budget and they're like, okay, what can we back out?
I was going to say that. How do you set expectations early in the process? Like budget, I'm sure, is one of the bigger discussions. How do you guys start with that
I
conversation?
just say give me your wish list. We're going to design the ultimate, and then if we need to back it out, we'll just value engineer it from that point.
Yeah, I usually try to set expectations, just kind of benchmark against other recent projects in the area that we've done for kind of what do we expect to see for costs of linear square feet of cabinetry, what does kind of a typical appliance package look like, just to get us in the realm of reality. And most people are not shocked. I feel like most of our clients have plenty of friends who have remodeled or built, and there's not too much sticker shock, but I do try to talk money early so that we're not sort of hunting in the wrong spaces and in the wrong direction.
I was going to say, I talk budget the first day I meet a client, because especially today, it's in remodeling or building in Southern California, it's not even budget anymore. This is what you're gonna start with. And if you don't have that idea, it doesn't matter who you use or what materials, there's a 10% flux really that you can manage. But I feel like right now we are living budget more than ever in the 3 decades I've done this.
So I approach it a little differently in that, I don't know, I feel like I came from the toy industry. I used to design Barbie. And, we're trained to, make dreams come true, right? That's our job. And so I bring that thought process to the home now, and I've been doing this for 28 years. And so when someone shows me what they want, it's like in my soul to make that dream come true. And so I find every way to make that dream come true, in that there's so many ways. Like, for instance, you can get white shaker cabinets, at one place, and then you can get them pure wood, that's painted, that are high level. So I do multi-million-dollar homes, and then I do lower price homes. So, it's how you approach it and then what you can fit in it, right? And so Pacific Sales has many different level appliances. And so that's a great way, of figuring out where it is. So I start aesthetically, and I work my way down and instead of pairing it out, right?
That's a great point, because a lot of times when you don't see what is if somebody uses the fridge more, let's say for an example, that's more important to them, is finding that first, and then we kind of go to the other appliances for an example. If someone cooks more, then you might start with the larger stove and fit everything else into the less square footage that you have remaining. So that's a great point. Here's a fun one. What do you wish your clients knew before your first onboarding conversation about kitchen and bath design? And how can showroom partners support you in addressing those early pain points?
I would say timeline is one. Along with budget, we usually talk timeline early in the process. I'm sure all the designers and architects here have had those clients who call you in late September and are like, I'm hosting Christmas. Could you get this done by then? No.
Right.
So we talk time and money pretty early, just to try to set client expectations around both of those. There's just only so fast that custom millwork is going to get built. You might fall in love with a range that has a 4-month lead time. So I think that's an important conversation to have, is just setting expectations to try to help avoid conflict and disappointment.
I find that really difficult in LA because of all the celebrities, and they're never told no, and they're expecting and they see sets get put together in days, and it's not reality, and then people watch HGTV and nothing works.
Right.
So they don't understand, they just think it's easy and it can be done quickly, and it can't. And so, yeah.
It's like you tell them they get to put in what they wanted. It's not what you wanted. Yeah, this is also a different portion of the reality. I rather give the 6 to 8 weeks that is the average versus telling everybody 4 weeks and it doesn't arrive in time. But is there a myth or a misconception you find yourself debunking often, aside from those timelines?
That your family's not a designer?
Your friends, your family, right?
No.
Stop asking the neighbors.
You know, the myth is that, you know what you want. You really do know what you want, and it's our jobs to bring that to you. And we really want that to occur, and we do everything humanly possible to do that. And you know, it's something in our blood that we know all the technologies, we know all the trends, and it's just up to you to tell us what you want. And I think the hardest thing for consumers is to articulate that. So it's our job, and the hardest part is like a detective. So when we first go in your house, we look at what you have, we see what you have, and we really try to understand how you live. And then we go ahead and then we incorporate that thought process. So it's like, you know, these are like little spy clues, you know, of how you have your home, and how you are having, do you have family come, do you have this come, you know? And then we bring that up to, reality to make sure that you have enough space in your kitchen to have your whole family, or if you have a small family, you have a bigger living room with more furnishing. So, it's like this, I think, like a little mystery.
I think the biggest myth, back to what Lori said, is timeline. And a lot of people just come in and with the understanding or the mythical idea that it can be done in 2 months. And another thing is, too, we do live in a world right now where plumbing fixtures aren't on a shelf waiting to be purchased. It's all by order. And, that just has to do with the cost of doing business. Nobody can afford to mass produce. So there's time for everything. And then also the time under construction. It's not a set. And only a couple trades can come in at one given time. So I would probably say for myself and what I see, it's the timelines.
Right, because there's so many options and designs available out there, and we want them in every color, but nobody could really stock every single piece and have that available. And I feel like sometimes when clients are thinking of their dream home, that's another question we have to ask, right? Like, is this your forever home? Or is this going to be like something you might sell down the line? Are we thinking for resale value? Are we thinking for durability? Those are like different things that we run across all the time. Is there a tool or a conversation that helps you guys align some of that to get started?
Yeah, at our firm, we have a very robust client questionnaire that we've developed over the last, I think we're going on 23 years in business. And every time something comes up, I'm like, ooh, we could have caught this with another question on the questionnaire, So it's ongoing and developing every year, but we do try to get our clients to fill that out in advance, like right at the start of the project. Because some people are great at talking about these things in person and some are not. And sometimes we have, one spouse is really engaged with the process and the other one barely shows up to the meetings, but I want to make sure everyone gets a vote, right? And I prefer that everyone shows up, but that doesn't always happen. So with the client questionnaire, I try to say, please, pour yourself a big old glass of wine on, Saturday night and sit down together and fill this out together. So hopefully everyone's viewpoint and opinions gets incorporated into that. So that's kind of an early way that we at least start trying to suss out everything from how they want to feel in the space, how do they live, is there staff that we have to consider? Do they have a private chef? Are there nannies? Are there other people who live here? Do you have guests constantly? Just all of those questions we try to gather because it really helps drive the design process.
Yeah, I think that checklist list is very important. I had a client literally give me a 10-page letter. It was like, I wake up at this time, I put on my white slippers, I walk to the bathroom. I was like, oh my God. So yeah, this checklist is really important.
Yeah, we had another panel a week ago and we discussed that. Like sometimes we give all the questions we can. Half the time, like they come back blank. They're not filling them all out. But you want to tell them we need all decision makers there while we're deciding this, right? Or if they are not there, they can change your mind in the last minute. And sometimes you always tell them too, it's like the wedding dress. When you decide, do not look anymore. Stop shopping. And you've chosen your appliances, your kitchen and bath, and that's it.
Yeah, I think that's actually a great point to make. That's one thing I tell clients when people ask me, like, how can I make this as fast and inexpensive as possible? I will always say, once you've made up your mind, do not change it. Like once we have put this in the drawings and we have put this in the specifications and we have issued this to the contractor, halfway in, do not suddenly be like, oh, I think I want the cabinets to be a totally different style, or oh, I changed my mind. That's really what can cause some serious delays in a construction process. So we do everything we can to get the clients feeling really confident about sort of signing on the line for, yes, I am committed to these specifications for this project and this set of drawings, and this is what we're doing. And then, I say, let the hammer fly and don't touch it.
And one of the biggest things, obviously in a home, it's a couple with two different mindsets. And, you grew up in a home and that's what you're bringing with you, what your past is, what your thoughts were from your parents, your grandparents. And you're bringing that, and now you're trying to marry that together. And you don't realize how much influence they had on you until you're building a home. And then everything comes out. Like you didn't realize that you had to have this in the kitchen and this in the bathroom. And so we really are, mediators between that. And I find that's my biggest role, is to let them know, the options, and then really kind of, mediate and then come in and say, okay, this would be best for this because, and then help them out. And that sometimes we run into situations where one of the partners is strong and the other one really isn't. So we need to make sure that we address that person who isn't, because they're also living in that home.
Right, it's like finding out who does the cooking, who does the cleaning, and those are like the discovery questions. Like even if they have a cleaning helper or a group that comes in, we have to let them know what are the right ways to clean these products, because a lot of them are not aware of the polishes or the stainless steel, and they could use abrasive products that ruin everything you just put together. So
yeah, I was gonna say on that point, I'm guessing we all do something similar, but we try to actually build a binder, like a care binder, for our clients, and whether it's for them or their staff, whomever. But it's all of the manuals for all the appliances, all of the cleaning specifications, just everything. And I've learned over time, it's great to just preemptively give them that, because I swear I will have people that will call me and be like, remember that thing we put in 10 years ago? How do I clean it? It's like I am trying to prevent those calls, so I'm trying to make sure that I am proactively providing all the information that the clients need to maintain and clean everything we're putting in the house, and that goes for appliances all the way down to fabrics on the upholstery.
Correct. Well, thank you, ladies, so much for being here today and all the questions. I think we have time to go to the audience for some questions, and we'll get a microphone out there if you guys have any questions for the panel. We have a hand.
With the very popular open design kitchen to dining room, or to a dining area, or to a great room, how do you address the issue of sometimes the need for separation, either visually or with respect to the sound environment, for someone who, say, is a very engaged, active cook and is using that kitchen in a very active way, and then has a desire for, say, a quieter, sort of peaceful setting for a meal, short of separate rooms? Is there a way to take that individual difference into account and address it in the design?
We're doing a lot of back kitchens or secondary kitchens that could be as large as a large pantry or a space, and you can keep a lot of the activity of the louder or the countertop appliances that maybe you don't want to see in the kitchen. If you were going to use the kitchen that evening just to do a simple takeout or something like that, then a lot of the main activity can happen in the back kitchen, and keep the main kitchen used as a family time setting. So we are seeing a lot more of that. And a lot of that has to do with a lot of the introduction of all these new appliances, down to air fryers and, built-in coffee machines. If we put all of that into the main kitchen, there would be very little space for what you're talking about.
Yeah, they have the speed oven that does microwave, cook, and all in one, so you don't need that much space for it. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, we are also doing a lot of kind of the front kitchen, back kitchen concept, and if there's room for it, that's fantastic. If there's not, like we're working on a house in Marin County right now where it's a open plan kitchen, kind of family, not a formal dining, but we're building in sort of a banquet area. And so then I'm always thinking about sound and sound transfer. So we are definitely doing our best with things like quiet rock, sound absorbent materials, underlayments under flooring, obviously good ventilation so the whole room doesn't smell like whatever you're cooking that evening, but trying to make sure that it's an engaging space to cook in, but it's also a comfortable space to be in. So using things that absorb sound and smells so that it can be both a living space and a cooking space.
There's a lot more things that are out there, like for instance, Zephyr has a venting system that is mounted on the ceiling. And so now you don't have to have the giant hood. There's cabinetry that I would look at your adjoining room and I'd marry it into the kitchen, and then you can actually put your appliances into that cabinet. It doesn't have to be the standard, box cabinets anymore. We take a lot of cabinets that were antique cabinets and we put appliances in it. So there's a lot of ways. It's like thinking outside the box, so that you're now blending both rooms. So you really look at the kitchen and you don't really see a kitchen anymore. You're really, it's just, blending right two different spaces.
And using like furniture or plants or some art to do the division and the flow for the rest of the house, as to make it separate for them. Any more questions?
You were talking about technology. If someone wanted to stay in a house for a long time and it's like, I don't want to have to change out my oven in 5 years because the smart app is like out of date, or, I know a lot of people have done like, like speakers, or, their whole house is connected to their phone, but then it's like, it becomes obsolete. So I don't know what you would recommend for like kind of long-term, like, I'm going to be here for a while and I don't want to have to like rip out stuff to get in the new technology, like something that's sustainable.
With a lot of the technologies and appliances, the great part about it is it's updatable. So when the consumer purchases it, the vendor backs it up and they're able to come up. They have chips inside that they're able to update them to help them continue with the evolution. So the actual appliance doesn't stop functioning because of that. And the app keeps updating itself for it. Yeah.
I also think that's a very difficult question, because especially in today's world, it's constantly evolving. It's like everybody leases their car because they want the newest one the next year. And I think appliances are kind of following that, and they're evolving. So you just have to find, to your point, the ones where they can update the chip. But an appliance will not stay constant for 5 years. It's.
Maybe you get the hard button one that you were talking about, that it's like,
Yeah. I'll say, like, I bought a house in Lake Tahoe, and it had a 20-year-old Viking range in it, and I was like, this thing's great. I remodeled the entire kitchen, but I kept the range. Like, there was no reason not to, So I do think there's also some appliances that just, they are workhorses, right? And they are, like, built to last, and I think it's, if you spend the money to buy something that's well-built and well-made, it will last you. But I am cautious about, like, trends sometimes. I don't know if everyone remembers, for a while there, people were, like, sticking iPads on the wall to, like, control, anything like that. I'm wary of, like, putting a hole in the wall to stick an iPad in it, because next year they launch a new one and the size is slightly different and it's not going to fit in the hole, So, again, because so many of my clients are in tech, and frankly, they are way more up on half of this stuff than I am. But yeah, we always have those conversations about, like, to what degree do we want to incorporate this? What does the maintenance look like? How likely is this to fritz out? And take caution, basically, with the pieces we buy.
Yeah, a lot of the good partnerships, that we do with the vendors is the conversations that come into studies. If they are upgrading, they're really cautious about size for that purpose. So they don't change the size of the product, even if the actual control panel is different because it functions differently or has more buttons. So the replacement is easier because we know we deal a lot with that. So we do conversate a lot with vendors to give feedback to ensure that we don't run into that. I'm sorry, go ahead.
To touch on what Holly is indicating, she's so right on when she's indicating about buying quality, meaning Sub-Zero is, to me, a great refrigerator. And for instance, I had a client who had a Sub-Zero. We completely remodeled her kitchen, and she wanted to keep her Sub-Zero. But when we took her to the store and we showed her the new ones, the old one, 25 years, it's still working. It's wonderful. But when you see the new one, right, the ice maker is, in the refrigerator side, where the water's in the refrigerator side, the filter's different. But, they're known for keeping your food the freshest of all refrigerators. The bins are, made so that they look prettier. The light is made so it's brighter, so that's what we're talking about in technology. So it's not like we're throwing the baby out with the bathwater with everything. It's just changes that, like your clothes or your car, right? Old cars are fabulous, right? They still run, they still get you where you're going, but it's how much technology do you want?
Last question?
Yeah, I have a two-part question that was kind of inspired by when Karen was talking about the back kitchens and the secondary kitchens. One, are you all seeing more ADUs now? And two, if we are doing ADUs, is the design styles from the main house flowing into the ADU, or are they trying something different in the ADU to maybe have a different design style?
Well, from my experience, we were doing a lot more ADUs. We're having a lot more fun in the ADUs. We're being a lot more playful, a lot more creative, and definitely we're not necessarily matching the house. So I have a project. What would you call that house? Well, sorry, I'm asking somebody that works for me. I would say it's a Mediterranean-style house. And the ADU is very contemporary and very fun and playful and different materials that we would not normally use.
Yeah, we are doing a ton of ADUs and JADUs. In the Bay Area, there's a lot of incentive to do it for permitting. And in all honesty, a lot of our clients will do it and call it that. And then in reality, it's the guest house, it's the pool house, it's where grandma lives, whatever. It's not necessarily a rental, but so for us, we usually are doing it pretty consistent with the main house because our clients aren't viewing it as sort of a rental property. They are really viewing it more as an extension of their current living space that they can use for something else. So maybe we're putting a gym in it, maybe it's where we are putting the spa bathroom that we couldn't fit in the main house. So it really, for us, is usually very consistent with the main home in terms of the style and level of finishing.
Yeah, I do a lot in Florida, and the big thing is really, bringing your mother-in-law in. And so we're taking sections of homes and we're recreating that to be the mother-in-law's location. So it's the complete kitchen, bath, and a room for sleeping and for entertainment. So it does have the breadth of the home, so that if anyone ever wanted to take out the wall that we just put in, to close off that section, you could, and it still has the same breadth.
I agree. I mean, ADUs really have become popular because of the laws in the states and its lack of housing. So it's very easy for most homes to get permitted for an ADU with the minimum and a maximum of square footage. Architecturally, I always think it's nice if they speak to each other, the main house and the ADU. But I agree with Lori, the interiors can have their own voice.
I know a lot of the changes with the current thing, the fires that were happening, we deal a lot of the ADUs too, where some people that are rebuilding usually start off with that just to get something on the land to get started where they can move in before they may build the main house. But also some of the pandemic, having families come back, children coming back home, and wanting to, be with the parents, but it's good to have them not under the same roof, but nearby. And the ADO is also good, and some of that has changed too over time. Do we want to take one more question?
Yeah, do we have
Anyone?
any last question? Anyone? Nope, we're good to go.
Well, thank you all so much for such a rich and inspiring conversation. It's clear that kitchen and bath spaces of today and tomorrow are so much more than just functionality. It's about lifestyle, wellness, and meaningful design. I'm Virzine Hovasapyan, Director of Marketplace Innovation for Pacific Sales, where we transform kitchens and homes into lifestyles and experiences. Our purpose at Pacific Sales is simple: to make life easier, elevate design, and deliver confidence for our clients, our employees, and our trade partners. We work together because we want to empower you for your choices, inspire you for your vision, and ensure to support for all of your success. Because together we create exceptional and experiences that last. And we, again, thank you, huge thank you to this panel for being here today and sharing your insights. And thank you to the audience, for everybody for coming here and joining us. If you like to stay and follow for more questions, we'll be around, but enjoy the rest of the day and the event. Thank you so much.
So there you go. Another incredible panel from the WestEdge Design Fair in Barker Hangar, Santa Monica, in November of 2025. I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you, Pacific Sales Kitchen and Home, for presenting the theater and for sponsoring this talk. Thank you to Kim Gordon of Kim Gordon Designs for crafting such a remarkable space. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this, and make sure that you're subscribing to the podcast so you receive all of these as they're produced, or published rather, automatically to your feed. Thanks for listening. See you next time.